The former Prime Minister Raila Odinga today held a meeting with the new Director General of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, Major General Mohamed Badi. And that meeting is already causing a lot of panic in Makwiny Sonko's camp. And Mike Sonko, in his typical fashion, has already responded indirectly. So today I want us to look at that particular meeting between Raila Odinga, Major General Badi, the Speaker Beatrice Elachi, and the message it was intended to send to Kenyans. But before we go into those details, if you're bumping on this video for the first time, I want you to take a second or two and hit the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this one, you get notified. Now back to the main issue. Raila Odinga caused a huge panic yesterday after being hosted by Ndugu Francis Atwoli. And today, Raila Odinga was at his office and he held a meeting with the Nairobi leadership led by the new Director General of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, Major General Badi. And Badi was accompanied by the Speaker, Beatrice Elachi, the Majority Leader, Charles Thuo, and the Minority Leader, David Mberia. So what were these guys discussing? Now, before we go into those details, let me just read for you so that we can understand the background. Let me just read for you what Raila Odinga posted about that meeting. Raila Odinga posted, held a meeting with the Director General of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, Major General Mohamed Badi, the leader of majority and minority, and the Speaker of the Nairobi County. I directed the county government to fully support the Metropolitan Services team to enable it deliver where the county had failed. And there's a statement which Raila made in that particular post, which really did not go well with the allies of the deputy president. The mere fact that Raila Odinga said that I directed the county government, and they were questioning on what capacity can Raila Odinga direct the county government of Nairobi. Raila Odinga is just an ordinary person. And I reminded some of them who are my friends that, my friends, don't bury your heads. Raila Odinga is currently something in this government, as much as it's opaque. But because even the statement by Raila Odinga is not very specific, let us look at another post which was made by the handlers of Raila Odinga. And actually, that's what I read first. The post is saying, His Excellency Raila Odinga earlier today had a meeting with the Director General of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, Major General Mohamed Badi, the leader of majority and minority speakers. Mr. Odinga directed the county government to give full support to the Metropolitan Services to enable it deliver where the county had failed. So basically, there's a narrative that there are certain services where the county had failed. And I want you to listen to this particular one. He particularly directed the county to put all garbage collection trucks at the disposal of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services. This followed complaint by the Nairobi Metropolitan Service that it is being forced to make do with only 50 garbage trucks, while the county administration is holding onto 300 trucks. So according to this post, it seems there's a problem with the garbage collection in Nairobi. So there are 300 trucks which are lying idle somewhere. And the county government only allocated 50 trucks to the Nairobi Metropolitan Services. But Sonko, in his typical way, before I go into the details on the message which Raila Odinga was sending out together with Mohamed Badi, Sonko, in his typical way, responded immediately after this meeting. And this is what Mike Sonko posted. He shared a letter. I think that letter, I shared it somewhere. Mike Sonko said in that letter, Nairobi County Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2020. I, His Excellency Mike Sonko, Governor of Nairobi County, pursuant to provisions of Section 24 2B of the County Government Acts, number 7 of 2017, do hereby refuse to assent. So Sonko is saying he has refused to assent to the Nairobi County Supplementary Appropriation Bill for the reason contained in the attached memorandum, and accordingly I do hereby refer the bill back to the National Assembly for consideration in accordance with Section 22A, 3, 4, and 5 of the County Government Act. So Mike Sonko just responded in a typical way. So the county government had requested a supplementary budget to help fight the pandemic which is currently facing the whole world. So Mike Sonko has refused to assent to that bill. Remember, the other day, the Sonko rescue team was blocked from distributing food to Kenyans in Nairobi. And after this meeting is when Mike Sonko also shared this particular information publicly. And now this is where it is interesting. This letter was addressed to the speaker. But look at the people who have been copied. The Honorable Kihara Kariuki, who is the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. Kariuki has been attached here because he was one who oversaw the swearing in of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services Director General. The second person is the control of the budget, copied. Then the last one is the government printer, so that they can publish it, they can gazette this. But what message were these two individuals sending? I've looked at that meeting very closely. And just like I keep on saying on this platform, that in politics, everything is normally done according to script, planned, and are normally executed to achieve certain political objectives. So what political objective was this meeting supposed to achieve? Remember, we are dealing with a crisis. People are supposed to work from home. So now we have Raila Odinga meeting with the speaker, with majority leader and minority leader. So what were they discussing? What was the objective of this meeting? In my view, I think there could be 3 or 4 objectives only. The first objective is that it's now clear that Major General Mohamed Badi is not trying to consolidate power. If you've studied this guy since he took over, he was a guy who was not in politics. But since this guy took over, he has met with the Nairobi leadership led by the senator, the women rep, and members of parliament. And these guys agreed to support him. So currently, as we speak, Major General Badi has the full support of the leadership from Nairobi in the National Assembly and the Senate. Previously, Mike Sonko was not seeing eye to eye with these people. Number 2, this guy has also held a meeting with the county assembly members of the county assembly of Nairobi. And I think they agreed to work together. And that's why the MCS passed that particular appropriation bill in the assembly. So he has developed a working relationship with them. During Mike Sonko's era, these guys were not working together. It was a divide and rule. So he's trying to consolidate power. And this guy now went to Raila Odinga. And in meeting with Raila Odinga, he didn't go alone as Badi. He went with the speaker. For those who follow politics in this country, the role of speaker at the county assemblies is very crucial. And when Mike Sonko was the governor, remember, Beatrice Elachi served most of the time fighting for her seat. He also went with the majority leader, Charles Tuo. Remember, the immediate former majority leader, Abdi Guyo, had problems with Mike Sonko. They never saw eye to eye. They never saw eye to eye with Mike Sonko. They never worked as a team. They just worked as a team initially when they were still fighting Beatrice Elachi. And the moment Beatrice Elachi was kicked out, Guyo also started having problems with Mike Sonko. And lastly, there was the minority leader, David Mberia. So that tells you that this guy is keen on consolidating power in Nairobi. And that's why he's meeting the right people at the right place. So that's number 1. Number two, I think these two guys were also sending message to Kenyans that there is a new sheriff in town. And that's why in his statement on social media handles, Raila Odinga mentioned that the county government should facilitate access to those particular services to the Nairobi Metropolitan services to help in where they had failed. So when you say someone had failed and that they should facilitate the other guy to perform, do you think it can work? And that's why I'm trying to believe that's the main reason why Sonko has decided to fire back by rejecting that supplementary budget. So I think these guys are very clear. Raila Odinga is the ODM party leader. He's currently part and parcel of President Uhuru Kenyatta through the handshake. Initially, for those who remember, when Sonko was supposed to be impeached, George Alado from nowhere wrote a letter. And that letter directed the County Assembly of Nairobi not to impeach, not the ODM members of parliament, not to participate in any impeachment motion against Mike Sonko. And a few days later, President Uhuru Kenyatta called a meeting with all the MCs and they dropped that impeachment motion against Mike Sonko. So it tells you that there's a way Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta are discussing certain aspects of politics in this country. And by the time Alado was writing that letter under the strict instructions of Raila Odinga, because later on there was confusion whether Alado is the one who's supposed to write or the Secretary General. But the fact of the matter remains that Alado wrote a letter which he was given direct instructions to do. So I think the message is very clear. The message is very clear that there is a new Sarif in town and he must be supported. Number 3, I think this guy is also trying to rally the support of Raila Odinga, especially in Nairobi County politics. Raila Odinga's politics has always revolved around Nairobi. He has a political party which has enough members of parliament in Nairobi. So I think this meeting was supposed to send a message to the allies of Raila Odinga, the MCs allied to Raila Odinga in the County Assembly of Nairobi, to support Major General Badi. And that's why you saw the presence of the entire county government of Nairobi. Because previously, this thing would not have happened. Mike Sonko, how many times did Mike Sonko go to Raila Odinga's office? Several times. But with any other person? No. With just Mike Sonko as governor. So the mere fact that this guy went there with the leadership of Nairobi, I think he was just seeking for the support of Raila Odinga, and specifically when it comes to the assembly. Because this guy is not the speaker. This guy is not the governor. He's just a director of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, which entered into the county government to manage specific ministries in the County Assembly of Nairobi. And lastly, I think the message is now clear to Mike Sonko, that the train has left the station. So that's the message these guys are telling him. This train has left the station. So there's nothing you can do. The only thing you can do is to work with them. And I think if I were to advise Mike Sonko, I would advise Mike Sonko not to open any other war with the Nairobi Metropolitan Service. He should actually look for Major General Badi, have a handshake, and agree on how they are going to work together harmoniously. Because where the system is, Mike Sonko is not going to win. He's not going to win that war. The mere fact that he has refused to assent to that bill, I'm sure he can't refuse again. If he will refuse again, then I think the law normally states that it automatically, if the president refuses to assent to it, it automatically becomes a law. So there's nothing Mike Sonko will do. But Mike Sonko is also a good man. The people of Nairobi are really missing, or they really make Mike Sonko, they know. And you see the other day, Mike Sonko distributed food and bottles of Hennessy. For those who understand that Greek word Hennessy. And Kenyans were like, why should you distribute Hennessy to this? And he explained to them. So Mike Sonko is someone who really understands the plight of the people of Nairobi. But because of bad politics, he has found himself in this current situation. So personally, I think Mike Sonko and the new Director General for Nairobi should not read from different script, the kind of things I'm reading online here. They must sit together. The way Badi has sat, the MCAs sat with the speaker, the majority leader, the minority leader, and Raila Odinga, I don't see anything which can stop him from reaching out to Mike Sonko. We know Sonko sometimes can be very tough-headed, but personally, I also know that Sonko might be willing to listen, because these functions have already been transferred and there is nothing he can do about it. So I think the two should just sit together and work together. So in my view, those are the coded messages which Raila Odinga and Badi were sending to Kenya. Let me just summarize. Number one is that the new Director General is trying to consolidate power. That's the main thing. Number two, they're sending out a message to the Nairobians that there is a new sheriff in town that makes Sonko is no longer the governor. Number three, I think he was running Raila Odinga to support him, especially in Nairobi politics and at the County Assembly of Nairobi. And lastly, the train has left the station. I don't know what you think. I don't know what you think. And if you're bumping on this video for the first time, I want to just take a second or two and hit the subscribe button so that next time I produce a video like this, you get notified. Thank you guys, and please may you have a good day. Bye-bye.